By the end of 1991, the 74-year-old Soviet Union became history. "25 days after the collapse of the Soviet Union, Deng Xiaoping made his famous tour of southern China. In Shenzhen, a pioneer in the economic reform and opening up, Deng stressed the importance of seizing the opportunity to develop despite the international instability. Deng put forward guiding principles to observe and analyze the international situation, primarily characterized by making contributions without showing off. The Cold War ended, leaving the United States as the world's only superpower. America soon realized that it no longer needed to cooperate with China to contain the Soviet Union. After the political unrest in Beijing in 1989, the US responded severely with 16 measures covering trade, investment, immigration and high-level exchanges. Other Western countries followed suit with their own sanctions. In 1995, relations with America deteriorated rapidly because of the then Taiwan leader Lee Teng-hui's visit to the United States. Despite soured ties with the US, China's diplomacy did not slide into a slowdown. Japan was the first in the Western Bloc to re-establish the exchange of officials in 1990. The same year, China started diplomatic ties with Saudi Arabia, which ended diplomatic ties with Taiwan. In August 1990, China re-established relations with Indonesia after a 23-year break. Soon after, China established diplomatic relations with Singapore. In August 1992, China forged diplomatic ties with South Korea. And in 1997, when the Asian financial crisis hit, China said it would maintain the value of its currency. The move played a stabilizing role in the economic turmoil, giving its Asian neighbors more time to recover.
After 1989, the mainstream of Western opinion was that China would collapse soon. The Soviet Union collapsed and the Eastern European countries changed, so China would not survive for long. But the turning point was the 1997 Asian financial crisis. The world saw China as a responsible country because it kept its word not to devalue its currency, and also as an economic engine because it maintained economic growth by increasing domestic spending.
The US was watching, and it began to change its policies towards China. In 1997, President Jiang Zemin paid a formal visit to the US, the first by a Chinese leader in a dozen years. During Bill Clinton's first term, China-US relations were strained, but in his second term, he extended a warm welcome to Jiang. But not all Americans felt the same way. Students at Harvard University are famous for not mincing their words. Jiang Zemin was scheduled to give a speech there, and many were concerned it would prove an awkward experience.
Before the new president came here, I warned him about going to Harvard University. I don't go to Harvard University because I don't want to be harassed by students.
After Jiang's speech, a student asked him what he thought of the campus protests outside.
To the protests that you have heard.
虽然我已经71岁了，但是呢，我的耳朵还是很尖锐。那么刚才我在演讲的时候，我就听到外面的高音喇叭的声音。那么但是呢，我想我唯一的办法就是我的声音要比他还高。
He went there. He answered the questions very well. He showed a good sense of humor, he showed discipline, and it turned into a big success. I always apologize to the president for having not had enough faith.
President Jiang took with him to the US his own aspirations. Behind him was a country getting more confident on the global stage. July 1st, 1997 was a special day for all the Chinese around the world. After some 150 years of colonial rule, Hong Kong finally returned to China. The world then saw the realization of Deng Xiaoping's bold idea of one country, two systems. By the end of 1999, China resumed exercise of sovereignty over Macau. It was a proud moment as 400 years of foreign control on Chinese soil ended. China was heading for a new century and a new era. In the past century, the country has witnessed great changes. Once a semi-colonial and semi-feudal nation, now a socialist country with Chinese characteristics. Once a closed-door nation, now a country opening up to the outside world. Once a poor nation, now a country drawing world attention for its economic strength. China was moving forward, mature and confident, and so was its diplomacy. In the new millennium, China is looking forward, determined to do even more for world peace and development.
Well, a rich and varied culture and the pain of colonial rule and foreign aggression, national pride and humiliation, together with geographical, cultural and ethnic factors, have all helped shape the Chinese view of its role as a country. More importantly, how China sees itself determines what kind of part it's played and what it will play on the global stage, thus determining its foreign diplomatic policies. That's the end of the first part of this special edition on World Insight on the 60 years of Chinese diplomacy. Much more the same next week, so join us again for that, and we'll bring you Chinese diplomacy in the new millennium. I'm James Chow in Beijing. From me and my colleagues here, thanks for joining us. We'll see you again.